Zach Baby TV.
Goosebumps. Viewer beware. You're in for a scare.
I am not insane. I'm a maniac. Hey guys, you reached Zach Baby TV, and I figured why not do a little review of the original series 1 through 62. I've watched some of the other people's pages, and they say, oh, 64 and 63. I mean, they just, it's 1 through 62. There is no more of the original series, so yeah, just remember that. Well, you got number 1, Welcome to Dead House. An excellent book. Amanda and Josh think the old house they have just moved into is weird, spooky, possibly haunted, and the town of Dark Falls is pretty strange too. But their parents don't believe them. You'll get used to it, they said. Go out and make some new friends, so Amanda and Josh do. But these new friends are not exactly what their parents had in mind because they want to be friends forever. This was a great episode. I didn't read the book until recently. I don't think the cover grabbed me growing up, so I never read it. But I remember seeing the episode on TV, and I was like, wow, this was really awesome. So I got a chance to actually read it. And yeah, what a great book. Definitely in the top 10. Number 2, Stay Out of the Basement. Awesome, guys. Probably the first book I read, probably one of the first episodes I remember seeing on Fox Kids back in the 90s. Dr. Brewer is doing a little plant testing in his basement. Nothing to worry about. Harmless, really. But Margaret and Casey Brewer are worried about their father, especially when they meet some of the plants he is growing down there. Then they notice that their father's developing plant-like tendencies. In fact, he is becoming distantly weedy and seedy. Is this just part of the father's harmless experiment, or has the basement turned into another little shop of horrors? This was a pretty awesome story, pretty self-explanatory. There wasn't really any twists to it, no secret or like wow kind of like a ending. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. But still, really enjoyable. It was a good book. Number 3 is Monster Blood. Now, I've done top 10 worst books, in my opinion, out of the original series, and this was one of them. I'm not big on Monster Blood. Is it important for the series to have been written? Of course. I think it belongs in Goosebumps, but it didn't really grab my attention. It wasn't that it was poorly written. It was just not really exciting. It didn't really grab me like certain stories did. I think the Goosebumps movie made a mistake in not having Monster Blood in it. If it was in the movie, I don't recall it. I don't remember seeing the haunted mask. If it was in the movie, probably for like a second, I don't remember seeing that. And that's like R.L. Stein's favorite book, you know what I mean? So, let's go ahead here with number 3. Blood, blood, blood everywhere, you know? While staying with this weird great-aunt Catherine, Evan visits a funky old toy store and buys a dusty can of Monster Blood. It's fun to play with at first, and Evan's dog Trigger likes it so much he eats some. But then Evan notices something weird about the green slimy stuff. It seems to be growing and growing and growing, and all that growing has given the monster blood a monstrous appetite. Now, out of the four monster bloods from the original series, because there's 1, 2, 3, and number 62 is number 4. I didn't even read number 4, but I've heard reviews that it was kind of a sucky book. I think the original was probably the best out of all of them, because I have read 1 and 2 and a little bit of 3. But I did think out of the 4, I think the original was probably the better of the 4. So that is number 3 for Monster Blood. Say Cheese and Die, another classic right here. Goosebumps, Say Cheese and Die. Greg thinks there is something wrong with the old camera he and his friends found. The photographs keep turning out wrong, very wrong, like the snapshot Greg took of his father's new car that shows up totaled, and then Greg's father is in a nasty wreck, but Greg's friends don't believe him. Sherry even makes Greg bring the camera to her birthday party and take her picture. Only Sherry's not in the photograph when it develops. Is Sherry about to be taken out of the picture permanently? Who is going to take the next fall for the evil camera? This was cool. Ryan Reynolds starred in the TV show of it. As you know, he's a famous actor that started out in Goosebumps and also on Are You Afraid of the Dark? He starred in both episodes, as both shows were pretty much Canadian acted and filmed. So, yeah, this was another great book. The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I didn't like this book. You know, it wasn't that great. I'm not going to go ahead and read that. Let's Get Invisible. This was kind of cool. Not in my top 10. Not in my top worst either. Kind of one of those medium books, filler books for the series, basically. You know, it's important for the series, but, you know, it wasn't a winner. Night of the Living Dummy, which had nothing to do with Slappy, but hey, still a really cool book. You know, the man himself. The Girl Who Cried Monster. Now this was great, and I probably should have added this in my top 10. This was a great book. I mean, classic. I mean, the TV show was really cool. Lucy likes to tell monster stories. She's told so many that her friends and family are sick of it. Then one day, Lucy discovers a real, live monster, the librarian in charge of the summer reading program. Too bad Lucy's told too many tall tales. Too bad no one believes a word she says. Too bad the monster knows who she is, and it's coming after her next. This was awesome. This was a cool book. If you haven't read it, read it. This is awesome. And that sums it up for number 8. Number 9, Welcome to Camp Nightmare. My second favorite out of all the Goosebumps in the original series. Actually, of all time. This is about Billy going to camp, but it's not a summer camp. Uh-oh, spoiler alert. It's a government testing lab because his parents are going to a place called Earth for a long time and want to take them on their expedition journey. An excellent book. Awesome. If you haven't read it, read it. Read it. All right, number 10, The Ghost Next Door. Now, this was a pretty cool book. Again, not in my top 10 greatest nor top 10 worst. This is about a girl named Hannah. Hannah's neighbors have just gotten a little weird ever since that new boy moved in next door, yada, yada, yada. Spoiler alert, recognize the name Hannah, recognize the Goosebumps movie. Boy moves in next door, kind of reverse psychology, but, you know, because in real life, R.L. Stine has a son, not a daughter. So, to me, that has to do with this book. Dun dun dun! The Haunted Mask, the original, Carly Beth and Sabrina. Halloween, sick of being bullied by the two boys, and she terrifies the neighborhood, gets her revenge. The mask is alive, it's a real mask, but she finds the symbol of love and gets rid of it. This is in my top 10. This should be in everyone's top 10. This, my friends, should have had way more spotlight in the Goosebumps movie, more than the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. She should have been right up there with Slappy. My personal opinion, I think they got that totally wrong. There was more monsters from the newer series than from the original. And I think they failed to realize that the people that grew up with Goosebumps are in their, mid to late 20s and early to mid 30s. And there was more of us there watching it than kids because they don't tend to really market stuff anymore. So nobody really knows about Goosebumps unless it's being told by adults, passed down through generations. You know what I mean? You don't see it on commercials anymore. You don't see it in Costco. I mean, you'll see it in Barnes & Nobles, but there's not really any advertisements for Goosebumps like there used to be. So he should have kept with more of the original series villains and monsters for the movie. I think it would have been done a lot better if they made it more or less of a family adventure movie and more spooky like the TV show. I think there was quite a few things I would have done differently with the movie. Yet I still like it because it's Goosebumps, of course. But there's a lot of mistakes they made in that movie. But I am looking forward to a sequel because I've been hearing that they're making one. So, haha! That sums it up for number 11. Be careful what you wish for. This was a pretty cool book. I'm not going to lie. Samantha Bird. Yep, basketball girl. I remember that. Not a bad book. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. I'm not even going to talk about that book. I thought it was stupid. Even the TV show was stupid. The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. This was a cool book. This is number 14 out of the series. Awesome book. If you haven't checked it out, definitely read it. If you haven't seen the TV episode of it, definitely watch it. It's really cool. All right, number 15 is You Can't Scare Me. I thought this was a great book. More of a filler, like I said, not top 10 worst, not 10 greatest, but definitely it was pretty cool. Number 16, One Day at Horrorland. A lot of people's favorites, or at least in their top 5. I enjoyed it. I did. I think the TV show could have been done better. I think the outfits were just kind of, but I guess, for its time in the early 90s, that's all they could really do. Maybe they were on a budget, but I really liked it. And I don't remember seeing this at all in the movie. I mean, could they at least put this sign in the movie somewhere, even if it was in the background in the woods where they were hanging out, with all the Ferris wheels and all that? They could have put this in there. Just that. I would have been happy if they would have put that sign in there somewhere in the movie, just as a symbol. You know what I mean? But this was a great book. Definitely check it out. Number 16. Number 17, Why I'm Afraid of Bees. I think I read half the book and then I didn't finish it, so I'm not going to really talk about it. Monster Blood 2. All right, there's Cuddles. Again, I'm not a huge Monster Blood person, but a lot, it's better than some of the books. But pretty cool. As you could see here, I have Cuddles the hamster right here with the toy here. And it still works, Don't piss him off, everyone. Don't piss him off. All right, number 19, Deep Trouble. Very good book. Very good story. Very good audiobook. Billy Deep Jr. That's right. And his sister, She-Ra. Definitely a winner. Definitely in my top 10. Top 5. Check it out. Number 19. Number 20, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. I thought this was pretty cool. To me, it was a knockoff of Jeepers Creepers in a way. But, just a little bit. Not the greatest book. Definitely one of the earlier ones I remember reading. It was good. Again, more of a filler for the series, like I was mentioning before. Then you have Go Eat Worms. This was cool, actually. I enjoyed it. The cover was kind of weird. I don't think I read it growing up, but I remember seeing the TV episode of it, and I was like, hey, this is pretty sweet. So I did read this. I liked it. Definitely worth reading. Not in my top 10, but definitely a good book to read. Ghost Beach. Great cover. Horrible story. Didn't care for it at all. I don't know what it was about it. I just didn't care for the story. I think it could have been done a lot better. But that's, everybody has their own opinion. I would definitely in my top 10 worst. So, yeah. Number 23, Return of the Mummy. I'm good on that. Didn't like either one of the whole mummy things, to be honest. 24, Phantom of the Auditorium. Okay. Was he really coming original, or can you say bite off? How many times has this been written by other people, like throughout, 50, 60 years? Yeah. I'm just not even going to review that one. Dun dun dun! Attack of the Mutant. Number 25, the best Goosebumps book, in my opinion, of all time. Skipper Matthews, 12-year-old boy in Riverview Falls, comes in touch with this weird building when he misses his bus stop to his orthodontist appointment, when he's also flirting with the hot chick named Libby Zax that's talking with him. She also collects high school Harry and Beanhead comics, but those are pretty crappy compared to the Masked Mutants artwork. Yeah, I know the whole story inside and out. Yes, sir. The best of the best. The Masked Mutant. Number 25. Number 26, My Hairiest Adventure about Larry. I thought this was a cool book. Not the best, more of a filler. Like I'm mentioning before, not top 10 worst, not 10 greatest, but, still a good book. A Night in Terror Tower, number 27. Awesome. I think I saw this guy, the Executioner, in the actual movie. Love this book. Such a good book. I'm telling you, Eddie's a pickpocket and he's a master at it. Him and Sue. Edward and Susanna of York. All right. Cuckoo Clock of Doom. This was actually a pretty good one. I enjoyed it. If you haven't read it, check it out. Number 29, Monster Blood 3. Didn't read all this, just part of it. It's pretty good. Not the best book in the world. Definitely in the top 10 worst, to be honest. Monster Blood 1 was better than the 2, 3, and 4. But that's my opinion. That's number 29. And here we go for number 30. It Came from Beneath the Sink. This wasn't too bad. The TV episode was horrible. I'm not going to lie. Very, very stupid. But this Cat and Daniel, they find this thing. But you know what? The book is really good. So definitely read the book. Ignore the TV show episode of it. And I think you'll enjoy it. Night of the Living Dummy 2. Definitely the best one out of all of the Slappy books. Very good book. Slappy is not my favorite supervillain, but he definitely is the most popular out of all of them, of course. But this, if you haven't read this one, read this one. Even if you don't read all the others, at least read part 2, number 31 here. You will like this book. It's really awesome. The Barking Ghost, I think I liked the cover more than I liked the book. Not the greatest story, but definitely check it out if you haven't read it. Number 33, The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam. A very interesting story. A very good book. It would be in my top 10, but I actually, picked something else to replace it with. But it is just as good as any of the others in my top 10. If you haven't read this is number 33. Definitely read this. It is awesome. Number 34, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. A must-read in my top 10. I did not like the way they looked in the Goosebumps movie. They made them very computer animated and fake-looking, kind of goofy. I didn't like them at all. I think the TV show of this book did more justice than the movie did with all their fancy money and special effects. I didn't like the way they did it in the movie. Like little Tinker Toys hopping around. Just didn't like it. But an excellent book, number 34. 35, A Shocker on Shock Street. You know what I find funny is that I don't remember anything about the praying mantis being that damn big in the cover of this book, in the movie, nor in the book. When Aaron and Marty are going through their, with the shit they're going through, they come across a praying mantis, but they're stepping on its toes, and they make the praying mantis jump around, and anger and hurtness because they hurt it. Because she's like, Marty, what do we do to bugs? We step on them. So, I'm not buying this, that he's that big. Please, If you step on his foot, I don't think he's gonna feel it. So I don't know what's up with the fake size, because the praying mantis is not that big in the story. But an amazing book. All right, number 36, The Haunted Mask 2, another great book. I love Halloween. Stephen Boswell. Well, he gets a taste of his own medicine messing with Carly Beth, doesn't he? That's right. Sucks for you. Excellent book, in my top 10. I love it. If you love The Haunted Mask, you'll love the second one. The Headless Ghost. I thought this was okay. To me, it seemed more like an Are You Afraid of the Dark story. Not in my top 10, but not in the top 10 worst. More of a filler. But if you haven't read it, check it out. 38. The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. I didn't like this. Pasadena is hotter than shit. It's in North LA County. No. I don't think I finished this book either. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost non-believable, but he got way too much airtime in the movie. Out of all the 62 books, they picked him to be one of the main ones. You know, aside from Slappy, of course. Slappy came a little later, though. You know, first it was him. It was all about him, you know, but, horrible choice. Like I said, there was a lot of things in the movie I didn't like. Number 39, How I Got My Shrunken Head, a Little Voodoo Magic Man. Anyways, this is a cool book. If you haven't read it, definitely read it. More of a filler, not in my top 10, not in my top 10 worst. But definitely a good book to read. If you haven't read it, definitely read it. Number 40, Night of the Living Dummy Part 3. Pretty cool. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. If you don't feel like reading it, I think it's on Netflix as well. They didn't make every single episode of, for every single book, but I'll have to double check if that's on the DVDs. I believe it is. If it's not, it's definitely a VHS. Actually, I'm correct. You'll be able to find it. If it's on VHS, that means it's on DVD. So, check it out. Bad Hair Day. Kid wants to be a magician really bad and gets tricked. I didn't really care for that book too much, to be honest. Egg Monsters from Mars. Didn't really care for that book either. More of a filler. Wasn't the worst book in the world, but, definitely filler. Alright, 43, The Beast from the East. My lady calls me the Beast from the West. Giggity. Anyways, check this out. This wasn't a bad book. I actually enjoyed it. There's actually a CD-ROM game out for this as well. Say Cheese and Die Again. You just can't go wrong with Say Cheese and Die. They're written very nicely. Good stories. I enjoyed the TV show of both of them. So definitely check that out. Ghost Camp, number 45. I thought the cover was really interesting and great. When I read the book, I didn't think it was all that great. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. I just inherited the puzzle book of it. As you can see here. Brand new, sealed, never been opened. How to Kill a Monster. Thought it was a pretty good book. Wasn't the best, more of a filler. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Number 47, Legend of the Lost Legend. Pretty good book. More of a filler. Pretty cool cover. Join the new Goosebumps fan club. I already have. If I mail that now, I'll probably get Return the Sender. Number 48, Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns. This was a really good book. This was going to be in my top 10 as well. Very cool. If you haven't read it, it's so awesome. It's about aliens that eat kids. Oh my gosh, stuff themselves with candy. Super spoiler alert. Sorry. Vampire Breath. Oh, what a stupid book. Horrible. I mean, the cover looks dumb. I love vampire stuff, as I've mentioned before, but this was really stupid. This is right there with Ghost Speech. Number 50, Calling All Creeps. Awesome and amazing. Awesome and amazing. Ricky the Rat. Ricky the Rat. Beware the Snowman. Not a bad story, more of a filler. But, yeah, not the greatest book in my opinion. Number 51. Number 52, How I Learned to Fly. Again, a filler book. Not the greatest book in the world. But, you know. Wait, does it say here? Trading cards inside. Really? Where? Where? Oh, look at that. That's sweet. I have that. Look at that. $8.95. Can you believe that? Here lies Curly. Boulder, got that. Notepad. Cool. Zipper tag. I'm missing that. But where is my cards? They lied to me. Or somebody took it. Number 53, Chicken. Goodbye. Sucky. Alright, 54, Don't Go to Sleep. This wasn't a bad book. Some people hate on it. I thought it was pretty cool. You know? Definitely check it out. I didn't think it was bad at all. Definitely a filler, but definitely far from being in the top 10 worst. That was a pretty cool story in my opinion. Alright, we got number 55, The Blob That Ate Everyone. The Giant Thumb or the Giant Tongue? The Giant Tongue of a Tongue. Definitely a good book. If you haven't read it, read it. Definitely a good book. Alright, 56. The Curse of Camp Cold Lake. I've only read a part of this. I haven't read the whole thing, so I can't really rate it with, how many, 1 out of 10, 5 out of 10. I haven't finished it. I really need to go back and finish this book. But from what I read, it was all right. I definitely need to finish the book. Wait a second. Is there something in here? Oh, look at that. That is super sweet. Look at that, guys. I didn't even know that was in here. Oh, I got cards. Cool. And I got a bookmark in here. That is sweet. I already have 2 of them. Nice. Now I got... Oh, but you gotta leave it in the book, right? Alright, number 57. My Best Friend is Invisible. I thought this was pretty cool. Definitely a filler book. I'd give it probably a 6.5 out of 10. Not top 10 worst. Not top 10 best. It's worth reading. Unlike Vampire's Breath and Chicken. But yeah, it's definitely a filler. Deep Trouble 2. I have not finished this book. I read about half of it. And it has to do with the same people. Billy Deep Jr. and She-Ra. And of course, Dr. D. I thought they were going to continue with where they left off with part 1. Which had to do with the giant one-eyed sea monster with crazy teeth and tentacles. But they switched it up and wrote like a whole new story, which was kind of disappointing. This is about giant fish and stuff. I was really disappointed about that. Alright, 59, The Haunted School. I've just started this book, because I've heard it's actually an amazing story, but I've yet to read it. But so far, it's really good. It's really good so far. I really enjoy it. Number 60, Werewolf Skin. I really enjoy this. This is a great book. My sister-in-law has done a review on it. Very good. Read this book if you have not already. Number 61, I Live in Your Basement. I thought this was alright. I'd give it a 7. Not the best, not the worst. Definitely worth checking out. Dun dun dun. Number 62, Monster Blood 4. Did not care. Alright guys, well that's about summing everything up for the 1 through 62 overview here. That goes 1 through 54, then continues 55 through 62, ending here. So, leave your comments below. Any special requests? Give me a shout out. Be more than happy to talk, answer questions, exchange ideas, and just go from there, The collection will forever grow, and you will grow with me and grow with it. So you guys have a great night. Take care.